Everybody please now, सब बोलिए Hare Krishna.
On the middle, in such a way that it doesn't touch his scarf, that it doesn't touch, because if the scarf touches, then it makes this sound. So you know that he has these buttons.
Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan. Listen, Giri Govardhan. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Giri Govardhan, 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 Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jai Desi Jai Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki Hare Krishna. Today, on the very auspicious appearance day of Giriraj Govardhan, we will
to hear a little bit about the speciality of his divine appearance. And I will share with you some wonderful information from Sri Gopal Champu, Purva 18th Purana. Krishna only wanted that he is worshipped. Is it possible to take the echo off? Soundman? No echo? Maybe I see, maybe you want to go and explain? So, Krishna had seen that his devotees, the Brajavasis, were each year offering around this time a big Indra Yagya. And Krishna wanted to make a point that he should be worshipped exclusively. No Anya Devata, other demigod worship. And therefore he convinced Nanda Baba, his father, and the elders of Nandagaon, why don't we just take the ingredients which we have assembled for the Indra Puja, and we worship instead Giriraj. No Indra Puja, just Giriraj Puja. So there was some discussion. And at the end, everyone agreed. Krishna has said, no Indra Puja, only Giriraj Puja. And the puja to Indra was stopped. This happened on this day. Yesterday, Krishna had gone with all the Brajavasis to the Manasi Ganga. You can see it is in Govardhan town. And they had offered a wonderful deeps for the pleasure of the Lord, commemorating Lord Ram's arrival in Ayodhya. So the offering of light and putting lights around Manasi Ganga was finished. And Krishna then said, today, in the morning he announced, today we will go to Giriraj and we will offer him all the things which we have offered annually up till now to Indra. So they came, and on the other side of Govardhan, in Jatipur, no, not Jatipur, in Anyor, they did a huge Giriraj puja. And at the end of the puja, on top of Giriraj, as high as Giriraj, a form of Krishna had manifested. And this form had thousands and millions of arms. Some were short, some were long. And with this huge form, the Lord ate all the offerings that were made from Indra. There was nothing left, only some wet things on the stone where the sabjis were there, but everything was finished. And then this form, this huge form, began to speak. He said, "O most beloved little boy," he spoke directly to Krishna, "you have very soft limbs, and all residents of Vrindavan. Today I have appeared to make a point, worship only Krishna." And then Krishna began to speak in his little voice. He said, "Shailosmi, I'm that hill, I'm that form. Let us all offer obeisances to Giriraj and the huge divine form of Govardhan." So it was Krishna offering obeisances to Krishna. And it was very, very, very wonderful. Then the next day is a day where brothers and sisters go to Mathura, that's tomorrow, and at the banks of Keshigat, Vishramgat, the sisters will bind a rakhi around the wrist of their brothers, and they will feed the brothers. And everyone who does this will never ever have to see Yamaraj. Yamaraj and his sister, who is sister of Yamaraj? Yamuna, were also present. Yamuna had said to Yamaraj, "Yamaraj, I feel compassion for all these souls who are going to your kingdom to be punished. Is there anything which can be done to release them?" And then Yamaraj said, "Yes, anyone who on that day, this is the next day, just now coming, is taking part in this ceremony, he will never have to see me. If you have any brother, my dear ladies, then this is the time, while you are in Braj, to offer them your good wishes. It's very important that you can do this. So then the day after, the next day, Indra had heard from his spies. He had asked, no Indra Puja? No Sandesh from Braj? No, said the spies. Krishna has stopped this yajna and has started Giriraj Puja. Who's Giriraj? Asked Indra. You will not like to hear this, said the spies, but he's a rock. What? Said Indra. I'm a very important person, and Krishna has directed my puja to a rock, to a stone. This cannot be. So it took some time for him to digest the information. But then the day after this, he sent his heavy floods and heavy rains. And then our Krishnaji lifted the Giriraj. After that, he was holding it for 7 days. And then so many things, the Vrajvasis were thinking, who is Krishna? We thought he's a little boy, but he can lift a hill. He's not a little boy. Who's Kanaya? He steals our milk, but now he has protected all of us. This is not an ordinary boy, but who is he? So they had discussed with Nanda Maharaj different possibilities. And the day after this, where they were questioning, was Vadasi, and Nanda Maharaj wanted to take a bath in the Yamuna, but somehow everything was so ecstatic, so many festivals had happened, so Nanda Baba went very, very early in the Yamuna and disturbed the natural order of how the bath is done. So Varuna's servants had taken him and brought him to the place of Yamuna. The Brajbasis were in great, great anxiety. Nanda Maharaj, their beloved king, had not returned when he took his bath in the Yamuna. In fact, Nanda Baba had disappeared. A terrible misfortune had happened. But then, after a few hours, boom, Nanda Baba came out of the Yamuna. There was Krishna next to him and Balaram next to him. And Nanda Maharaj was in great ecstasy. He went to the shore. He said, come, come, come. And everyone sat around Nanda Baba. The way we are sitting here, Nanda was saying, I have to tell you something. Krishna saved me. Yes, I was kidnapped. When I took my bath, I went underwater. I don't remember anything. And I came up where Varuna is. And then the next thing I see is Krishna comes and Varuna pays his obeisances to Krishna. And he says, oh, I'm so happy you have come. You may take your father now. And Krishna is very angry, looking with red eyes at Varuna. Don't take my father away. Don't do this again. And Vrajvasi said, what? Varuna is under Krishna? Krishna is higher than Varuna? Who? And yes, Nanda Baba said, and see, I will prove. And he was holding many gifts from Varuna, all jewels, rare precious jewels. Krishna was worshipped by Varuna with his jewels. See Krishna ki! Jai! You're sleepy. See Krishna ki! Jai! A little better, but you have to improve. So, my dear devotees, then the next day, Krishna knew. They were all wondering, who is Krishna? He lifts a hill, Varuna pays his obeisances to him. Who is this, our little boy? We saw him growing up. We saw him walking through the dust. We saw him falling into the cow dung. He's a little boy. And he steals all the time and tells lies. But then Varuna pays obeisances and he does all these things. So they wanted to know. And Krishna said, I will show you. So he took them all to the Yamuna and he said, now look. And as they were looking, a tunnel opened and they could see the eternal Goloka Vrindavan. And there they saw Krishna and Balaram and Nanda Baba and everyone. So Krishna, then they knew, oh, Krishna is Bhagavan. He is the Supreme Lord. And then so many other leelas took place. But let us now just go a little to the actual celebration of today. Everything is very auspicious and very joyful. You can see our Brijvasi devotee Krishna Murari Goswami from Nandagram has come. He is not dressed every day like this, but he is dressing on Govardhan Puja day like this, because it is a great joy. And I will ask Krishna Murari after some time to tell us a little bit about the joy of this day. No? Also, his grandmother has come, and best Zari and father has come. They are all very joyful because today Giriraj is there. So let us a little bit hear about this particular day. I've given you an overview. Now we will, this was a bird's eye perspective. Now the bird will land and tell the detail. So when this huge form of Giriraj, when it was sitting, when this divine form was sitting, I will hold the microphone a little bit like this, and it is easier for the sound man. When this beautiful, this huge form was sitting of Giriraj up there, he was dressed in yellow garments, very yellow garments, very shiny garments, and he had a crown made with flowers. It looked supremely attractive. And he had said, I am Giriraj, I am the personal form of Giriraj. And Krishna had then said, and had asked all the Brijvasis who were with him to offer obeisances. Then this form started to eat with millions of hands. Some hands were going here, some hands were going there. Can you see, Giriraj at the moment has also his hands everywhere, because he takes the food which is offered to him in America, he takes the food which is offered to him in Germany, in South India, in China, and so on. When you offer something to the Lord, he will know how to accept it. But he was also very thirsty in between, so he attracted large ponds with juices, and in between, as he was eating, he was drinking also a lot of juice. And all the Brijvasis who were there took preparations, and they came running towards Giriraj to give him foodstuffs. It's described they were like chataka birds who approach the moonbeams, no? Is it chataka or I have chataka birds who approach the clouds. The Brijvasis were running, take this, take this, take that. And in this way, this giant, Govardhan giant, took big morsels with his right hands, and he was sticking out his thumb and the left finger like this. This is what you do when you make fun of someone. It's a gesture which is belittling someone. When you have quarrel with someone and you do this gesture, then that other person will become very, very agitated. So Krishna, this form, as Giriraj, was eating with the right hand, and with the left hand he made this gesture to Indra. And Indra saw this, and this is, no one ever before had made fun of the king of the universe. There are many detailed. Some of the little children were thinking, they were standing next to Krishna and said, will he eat everything? Nothing left for us? And Krishna said, don't worry, there will be enough for all of you. So in this way, afterwards, after this festival, Krishna said also, not only should Giriraj be worshipped, but 3 persons should be worshipped. Giriraj, the cows. I think I saw some cows here. Are they still with us? They are behind us. And Brahmanas. This was Krishna's instruction. And afterwards, even the dogs and the cats and everyone should be worshipped. Please understand, this festival is a festival where no one is left out. But please start today. We will offer puja to Giriraj, flowers. Then what we will also do is we will do Go Puja, and we will worship Brahmanas and Brahmanis, like Vrindavan, Vinod and Prashanta. We will worship them only. So in this way, Govardhan Puja is complete. But when something is left, you should not just leave. You should take something, and when you see a dog, give the dog something. No? Everyone is included. Everyone should be happy on Govardhan Puja day. Everyone. Krishna is not wanting that any single one of his living beings, of the residents of the Braj, are left out. And then after the feast, Krishna, so natural, he said, let us sleep a little. So everyone, all the Brijvasis, Nanda Baba, and so on, they took their rest under the shade of these trees. These are, by the way, very good trees. You will not be chased away if you take your rest here. It is possible on Giriraj appearance day. Maybe Mataji's in one place and so on, but it is possible to rest in the open. And after the rest, Nanda Baba said, come on, and all the people went up. Now we must circumambulate Giriraj Govardhan. So they did a wonderful circumambulation, and they were singing, they were dancing, there were musicians who were playing instruments, and it was a wonderful, wonderful procession. They were driving the cows in front. Cows were there in front, and calves were there running. And Krishna was sometimes on a bullock cart, but then Krishna said to Balaram, let us jump down. And they were then dancing with the musicians. Krishna and Balaram were dancing. And sometimes Krishna, it is described, was throwing his danda, his stick with which he is herding the cows, high in the air, and it was whirling in the air. And at those moments, Lalita Sakhi said to Radharani, see where the stick is flying? It is on that spot where Krishna dances and throws his sticks in the air. So Radharani would always know where Krishna would be. My point is, this is a festival day. Please don't look tired. Oh, no tired? No, no tired. Please look happy. Please know the Lord is giving his ashraya to everyone. So I want to now ask Krishna Murari.
Bhujan Prabhu is,
Who?
Bhujan Prabhu is on the way and he's calling now. Bhujan Prabhu.
Ah, better even. No, not better. After. Bhujan Prabhu is also here. And he will give a little address to all of us. You must know, Bhurijan Prabhu is now completing his study of the Chaitanya Charitamrita in Australia. But we are making such good plans that next year we will again have our Govardhan retreat live here, live, touched by the lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna has placed love or prema in this dust. So anyone who gets this dust on his head has the most fast Krishna conscious therapy. You know, it's very, very important. Don't forget before you leave to pay your obeisances in the dust. Don't think, oh no, my cloth is very clean, or my hair is very fantastic. Don't think like this. Just put dust on the hair. Small amount, big amount, you decide. But some dust needs to be here. So here's, Burijan, I see you. How is it possible? There's Hare Krishna.
So happy to see you.
Same, Burijan Babu. We are putting you now on the loudspeaker, and it would be very nice if you address all of us. Maybe you have seen, we can just see the many devotees here.
I see also Prashanta Mataji there, and tomorrow is her birthday.
Oh! Bravo!
Pray for Prashanta Mataji, so that Giriraj blesses her.
And Burijan Babu, we miss you very much because you are the voice. I have tried to imitate you in saying Bolo Giriraj Maharaj, but the result was not the same. So please don't leave us without this. I will now stop talking. You are very clearly audible. Please address all the devotees now.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Can I just see you one more time? Okay. Now I'm happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's coming, huh? Yes. Ah, yeah.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutale Shimati Rupa Vedanta Vishwama Ani Tinam Sages Nirvani Vishkati Desha. Hare Krishna. Bolo Giriraj Maharaj Ki. Okay.
Just move the loudspeaker a little towards Giriraj because it's otherwise people just a little. Yes. Go away from the loudspeaker. Yes, it's all. Take it.
I'm so far away, in one sense, in far away Perth, Australia. Thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away. But of course our heart is with you all the devotees who have taken shelter of Giriraj Govardhan on this wonderful day. And I'm not so far away in the sense that I stayed Gopinath Dham in Perth, Australia, so it's a very holy place. And this evening we are having a Govardhan puja program, and I was asked to speak, and the topic I chose is that it is life lessons from Krishna's Govardhan Leela. And as I started to look at the Leela and study it and seeing what was actually being taught to us, In addition to the most wonderful pastime of Krishna lifting the hill, in addition to the most wonderful pastime of the exchanges between Krishna and the Brijbasis underneath the hill, the lessons that this Leela teaches us are so deep. And when I was looking at it, first I thought I would just give a quick class and it would be over and everyone should take shelter of Krishna as the Brijbasis took shelter of Krishna underneath Govardhan hill, took shelter of the hill Krishna provided for them. It's so simple in one sense, but the more I looked into it, the deeper my experience was of how important this is. Chakravarti Thakur, he explained that Krishna stopped the Indra Jagya and he inspired the Brijbasis and Nanda Maharaj to do Govardhan puja. He explains that there are three reasons for this. The ultimate reason is that he wanted to have loving exchanges with the Brijbasis in an uninterrupted way underneath the hill. And everyone could give up their shyness and interact with him, and he could interact with them. And he wanted to taste that sweetness. So in that itself, there is such a lesson. Because what can you give to the person who has everything, who's the supreme controller of everything, who has hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis worshipping him? Lakshmi Sahasra Satam Brahma Sevyamanam. What can you give him that he already doesn't have? And somehow or another, by the magnanimous, generous, pure heart, full heart, loving heart of Krishna, what he wants is some devotion from us insignificant little souls. He actually wants that, and he reciprocates with that. It is inconceivable that one tiny soul who is insignificant in compared to the totality of existence can actually do something to please the Almighty Supreme Personality of Godhead, but yet it is true. And Krishna wanted to taste the special flavor of the ecstasies, the loving ecstasies of the Brijbasis. And therefore, that's the prime reason he lifted Giriraj Govardhan. He wanted to taste that. And that was his pleasure. And that was their pleasure, to give him pleasure. And it was his pleasure to give them pleasure. But that was only one reason, says our great Acharya Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. A second reason is that he wanted to establish the worship of Govardhan, Govardhan Puja, to be a yearly celebration. Because in this Govardhan Puja, there's just so much happiness. It's the happiness, the nourishment that we are all longing for, because it puts everything in the correct perspective. Here we are looking at the ideal devotees, the Brijbasis, hearing about them, hearing about their interactions, hearing how Krishna protected them. So by entering deeply into the sweet happiness of the pastime of Govardhan Puja and the lifting of Govardhan Hill, we are affected in so many different levels. On one level, that happiness nourishes the seed in us, the desire in us to have exchanges with Krishna. And it reminds us that the exchanges that we have trying to gain pleasure in the material world, there it is like eating ashes. And if any of you have eaten ashes, I don't recommend it particularly, but if you like to eat ashes, you will find out it is very dry and tasteless. No matter how many times we try, no matter what we add to it, whatever preparations we make, it's only ashes. It's dry. It's tasteless. And on the other hand is the sweetness, the overflowing sweetness on every level, on every level. All of you are looking at Giriraj right now. You're in the sweet atmosphere. The wonderful that our Sacinandana Raj gave. The senses are all can be so filled with happiness and overflowing with happiness due to the wonderful Govardhan puja that Krishna wanted us to worship every year and remember on many, many different levels. And then the third reason was, does anyone know the third reason? Atul must know. Hare Krishna, Atul Krishna. It was because he wanted to remove something from the heart. Some of the ahankar, some of the pride from the heart, Indradev. In other words, he wanted to bless Indradev. And here's what one thing that I understood when I was looking at the lessons from this Leela, the lessons to be learned, was that even though when I hear the Leela, I prefer to think of the Brijbasis because they are the ideal example, but I was forced to admit and confront the fact that I'm much more like Indra than the Brijbasis. Because Indra, he had some gifts, and they were really bestowed upon him by Krishna. He had some gifts. But what did he do with those gifts? Instead of offering them to Krishna with devotion, understanding that like the water of the Ganga is offered to the Ganga, that Krishna has an unlimited supply of these gifts. Instead, look what he did, because his pride was insulted, and look what he did. He tried to all the Brijbasis and the cows and Krishna. One young boy here who studies in the Gurukula in Mayapur, named Braja Mohan. He's 13 years old, but he's a very interesting young man. And one day, several months ago, I asked him, why do you think Indra, just because one sacrifice, he was neglected in one sacrifice, why did he get so angry that he tried to destroy all of the Brijbasis and even the cows? I thought that was very extreme reaction. So this little boy thought for a while, and he said to me, I think it was because of his pride. And I agreed. Because when one has pride, and one's pride is disturbed and one is insulted, one is capable of the greatest anger. Anger so great that one's consciousness becomes compressed in ignorance and one of anything.